Belinda had a joke moment because
I would have lost my daughter and my late husband in less than 2 weeks apart.
welcome to the Tenaciously Resolute Podcast. Hi, and welcome back to the Tenaciously Resolute Podcast. I'm your host, Clarice Nelson, and it is a pleasure having you all with us for another episode. Guys, today we have a very, very special podcast episode with a very special lady, Miss Belinda Waldron, and we're here to talk about life after grief and seeing the bright side after the clouds. So, Belinda, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Carice. It's my pleasure being here today.
And I am so happy to have you. And she's here resplendent in her pink, looking all beautiful and dolled up.
You?
Everything looks lovely. So, Belinda, I know you have a beautiful story where you would have gotten to experience life and loss, right? But tell me and walk me through this journey of experiencing so much love, having to lose it and to start again. So, let's start at the beginning.
Yes, Carice. I would have lost my daughter and my late husband in
Mhm.
2024 in less than 2 weeks apart.
Wow.
Yeah. My daughter, she had a heart condition,
Mhm.
right? So we knew that she was ill. But my husband died right after the burial of our daughter
Wow.
in a vehicular accident. Something that you was not catered for. You didn't think that would have happened. You didn't think
Mhm.
that you would have lose your husband. You thought that after losing the daughter, you could now start over.
And you would still have that support of your
Port.
husband.
Yes. But unfortunately, he died.
That is very unfortunate.
Very.
So, how did you manage to cope? Because you told me you lost your daughter, but is it that the loss was sudden? How did that come about?
No, it was not sudden. She was born in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I knew about her heart condition 5 months in belly. So the doctors asked me if I wanted to have an abortion. I told them no, I'm going to give my daughter a fighting chance.
Yes.
I allow her to be born at Mount Hope. However, I got out of the hospital approximately 4 to 5 days after. I told the doctors, I said, if there's nothing you can do for her,
Mm.
please allow me to go home with my daughter and
Yeah.
bond with her. So whatever time I get with her,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be more than happy. You know, we went home. You know, we had to visit Mount Hope. Then we went to Miami. That's at the Children's Hospital there, Jackson Children's Hospital, to have a surgery done. It was supposed to be three corrective surgery, but however, they said if she do the surgery, she would die,
Oh.
right? Because the her heart condition it was so complex. So they asked what decision I would make. I said, well, I am going home back with my daughter. Whenever God is ready for her, let him take her for himself. And we came back to Tobago, having to do the same Trinidad, Tobago. Doctor visits was like every 2 weeks.
Wow, that's quite hectic.
Yes, I wouldn't say it was tiring. I wouldn't say it was a problem. It was very challenging, but only God.
Yeah.
He gave me all the strength. Oh, well, I should say at that time, He gave us all the strength that we
Mm-hmm.
needed and support.
And all that time you were still able to experience your lovely daughter,
Yes.
getting the treatment and whatnot. I mean, some persons may say, when you're sick, it's such a hard and a difficult time, but I guess looking back, God was still extending you an olive branch of time.
Yes, sir. He really, really, he showed up for who he said he is, which
Mm-hmm.
is God. Yeah. And I enjoyed, that 2 years, 7 months with her. Although the challenges were there.
Yeah.
Because, having to buy medication, having to have her on oxygen, always testing her SpO2 to make sure she's okay. So you're always literally over this child.
Mm-hmm.
Going to work with her. Thank God for my supervisors, I must say that. They held my hand and make sure that Zaya and I was good.
Yeah, that's amazing
Yeah.
that you had supportive co-workers that
Mhm.
made sure, because I
Yeah.
mean, normally people will probably say, why ain't she now home or get somebody to take care of her? But the fact that you got to take her to work,
Hmm.
wow.
Or sometimes her dad would stay with her until I reach home.
Mm-hmm.
And when, we used to do it, he do what he have to do. I stay with her. I do what I have to do. He stays with her. So it wasn't a problem.
But how did you know when things were moving from a position of, okay, the care is working in terms of her body is regular to some degree to it's starting to decline? How did you know?
Actually, you would see her she was always the life of a party, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would see her all jovial. Although she was ill,
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't tell you that she was ill, you wouldn't know that she was ill. So, me being there with her 24/7, you would see the difference in her behavior. There were some medications that she would take, would have her looking like a vegetable. So, she's more quiet than
Yeah.
normal. So, you always have to be, she's sleeping, you're over her like that,
Yeah.
you know? And I think that's a motherly instinct as well that had me, knowing when she was good and when she was on the downside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But as time progressed and we're approaching the 2 year mark, were there any changes? I know that you said it was a heart condition, and they already told you in whom, okay, she has 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
At 5 months, maybe let's just remove this child because she's not going to be
Medicate.
healthy. You made a decision not to have an abortion, but you was on borrowed time, basically, according to the doctors, because
Mm-hmm.
there's everything is possible through Christ, right?
Mm.
But at 2 years old, was she the same, or were things accelerating?
I think she was better at 2 years. She celebrated her second birthday like a
Yeah,
queen. She did photo shoots and she was always that child who loved life like her mommy,
yeah.
like to have her hair done. As soon as the hair is done, she gets in front of the mirror. So she was that child that she was life.
Hmm.
She lived life. But when she was like about 2 years, 4 months, that's when things, she had one seizure. We ended up in the hospitals. She was hospitalized for a week, and then we started to see things going downhill.
Um,
Yeah.
but regardless of, you got to experience her, because that means the fact that you are able to speak about her personality and all of that. This child was able to surmount the challenges,
Yes.
right? And she lived, and you experienced her love, and you experienced what it was like to be a mother again, because you're already a mommy of
A 19 year
a
old.
19-year-old, right? And then you were a mommy of a bouncing baby girl despite the complications. So let's fast forward a little bit and looking over to hubby. When things would have transitioned, meaning that baby girl would have gone home to be with the Lord, how were things between you and your husband?
Well, he was very distant because that was his only child, after so long. And he said, I don't know how I would live without her. But sometimes we don't take those words very seriously.
Hmm.
After burying her on that Monday, every day he would leave and he will go to the graveyard looking for his daughter. And I think that was the hardest part of grief for him.
Hmm.
So much effort was not put into our relationship after the passing of Zaya.
Hmm.
Because After we buried Zaya, my son had graduation on the Tuesday. The Wednesday I was ill. The Thursday I was ill. The Friday I was ill. So he left to get some medication for me on Friday
Mm.
and never returned.
Wow.
Yeah.
Belinda. Belinda, oh my goodness. So in the space of that's basically a week.
It's not even a week.
It's not even a week.
It's about 3 days.
And you've now lost your baby girl and your husband. Oh my gosh, when you said he was saying how could he live without her? My mind went directly to, there's so much power in your tongue.
Correct.
But he didn't die of natural causes, did he? How did he pass?
No, he died in a vehicular accident on his way back home. So no one had the opportunity to call me to say, your husband is dead. Me looking at the time, he left home to return. I said, but how? He didn't reach home as yet. So I asked my son, I said, could you get my phone, please? When he got the phone, he went for his phone immediately. And he was like, Mom, why this looking like getting an accident so? No. I saw the vehicle. I didn't see the number plate.
He knew.
I knew it was him because I knew what he left home in. Immediately, just as I was at home, I had to find the strength to drive to the location. And it wasn't.
I could imagine. And I truly empathize with you. Sometimes when you read scriptures and you see Job pop up, and you say, Job lost his children, he lost everything. And you're like, how did he even manage to go on? You had that moment. You had that moment knowing that you just lost your baby girl and now you lost your husband. And you're staring at him face to face on the scene of an accident, knowing that life would no longer return to what it was. How did God help you?
Sweetheart, all now he helping.
Thank you, Lord.
All now he helping. I said I'm still here because he's not done with me as yet. I still have purpose. I still have to live. It was very, very, very hard. There's still down days, although, life has moved on with me, or I have moved on with life. There's still down days because those dates never come out your head. Those images never come out your head. But thank God for who he is, which is God.
And how about your son? Because he was right there with you.
Neck and neck. My son is doing, I would say, better than I am, right? Because, for him, my husband wasn't his father, but his sister. At one time, I saw he posted, if you want to give me anything back in this life, please give me my sister. So I know he has that special part in his heart for her. Ever so often, he posts her, he if he knows Ron Cole, he wants her rags.
Yeah.
So he have things in his room that
They're little core memories to him.
yes. Yes.
Wow. The thing about it is, even though people have moved on, there's certain sentimental things, images, scents, spaces that you would be in, and the memories coming back. I'm certain you would have experienced that.
I am a living testimony of that. If you walk into my room, you will see a post-it of her, a portrait of her, and you will see a suitcase. It looks like it's just a suitcase. But it's a suitcase of receiving blankets, christening dress, her first footwear is in my car. Don't move from there. So there's a lot of things, the clothes that she wore to Miami, all the stepping stones. There was one day she went to a daycare, and the first thing she did was put her hands in paint and put it on a paper. I still have all those things in that suitcase. So every now and again, I visit that suitcase, especially if I am not feeling 100 and I need to feel some sense of peace. I do that, as well as sometimes I drive to the graveyard and just sit in my car and look at the both of them, you know. And, just, I know they can't hear, but my presence there, it gives me comfort
Yeah.
all up to now. So that's how I cope with it at times.
So I'm going to ask you, and this might be personal, but
Sure.
a husband, somebody that you're one with in front of the eyes of God, in covenant with God, you lost this person. How were you able to move on? I mean, because this is a very closely bonded relationship,
Yes, it
right? How were you able to move on knowing that, okay, this is the end of the line here, and you have to face life again on your own?
Well, in doing so, moving on, it was hard, but I also had to tell myself, my husband or my late husband, he is never going to return.
Mhm.
And after them being dead, I had this passion for God. Now, we know what it is about fornicating
Mhm.
and trying to live a Christian life. And I said, Belinda, you have to do something because I am young, I am beautiful, and
Mhm.
I still have life. So I have to live life. The hurts, the pains, they won't go away, but I still have life.
Yeah.
I wouldn't forget them. I don't intend to forget them, but
Mhm.
I have to live. And that's what helped me. I am not the person who would study what people will say.
Mhm.
I know, and everybody else know, that Joseph was not coming back.
Yeah.
So I had to move on.
So, looking at life going ahead. So, we close that chapter, and now you have the memories of them. How
Lots
did
of
you
memories.
navigate going forward, finding love again, finding yourself again? Did you access counseling? What did life look like for Belinda now?
Well, actually, I access counseling two places. I
Mm-hmm.
am presently still in counseling, and my husband, my new husband,
Mm-hmm.
he works hand in hand. He understands that, you know, grief is still there. So sometimes when he see I get silent, he helped. He come, he cuddles. He said, everything is going to be all right. I am here for you and I am here with you. So he plays a very, very great part in helping me deal with this grief.
Excellent.
Also, the counselors
Mm-hmm.
and my family support. So they all supported when I said, I'm going to get married again. They were very, very, very supportive.
That's excellent because sometimes, like when people experience these traumatic experiences, and I would say it is traumatic
Mhm.
because normally when people experience that is now or one time and then maybe a while after, years, decades after, you may experience it again. But for you, that wasn't your case, right? So you managed to get a support system around you that were able to uplift you during that period. How instrumental do you feel that they were during that period?
Mm. They would call, they will come, even when I don't want them to come. They don't care about that. They just show up. My son, he would shower me with gifts. He, occasion, no occasion, this is for my mommy. So he too, as well, he played or is still playing a very big part
Yeah.
in helping me along with
That is so sweet.
that. Yeah.
But at the end of it all,
Mhm.
you are here, you're radiant, and you could tell that life has been treating you well, right? So despite what would have happened, it does show that after grief there is life. And how do you experience it now?
I guess I got a little bit more hungry for life, knowing that I
Mm,
have it. And not just only life, but a life with God in
mm,
it. Because He showed up for me where I didn't think it was possible. So, some people say, yeah, man could give me everything, but God is everything.
mm,
He gives it to you. He said, look me here. You ignored me for so long, and I'm still here, and I ain't going nowhere.
mm.
Yeah? So that's why I'm still blooming at this point.
But that is so amazing. That is so amazing. So life, having loved, having lost, having grieved, having finding love again, and being able to bloom and still blossom while re-engaging and continuing to grow your relationship with Christ. That was quite a journey. It was quite a roller coaster.
Yes. Because there's some days you're in church, you're there, but you're not there.
Mm,
And the saying goes, God understands tears. I don't really talk much to people to say, well, this is what I'm going through,
hmm.
but I know how to cry, and I know God understands.
Yeah.
I have one friend, when she call and she don't get me, all I would say to her when we speak next is, I was doing something. And she knows exactly what the something is.
Yeah.
Keshi, you still doing that something? Yes, I'm still doing that something. Because God understands the something. And the
Yeah.
something is crying.
Yeah.
Ever so often, I get into a cozy corner and do my thing.
Yeah. And it's okay because it's better than bottling up your emotion.
Mm.
But if you were to tell something to a family that might be at home or would have experienced the loss of a child, the loss of a close family member, if you were to tell them something because you can relate with them about how to manage or how they should navigate grief and life now going ahead, what would you say to them? You could tell them at home.
Firstly, I would say God in the center of that grief. And the sooner you put Him in the center, is the sooner you get at ease. It wouldn't go anywhere, but put God in the center of grief.
Fantastic. So, guys, that's Miss Belinda Waldron, and Belinda's story is touching, but it's also heartwarming because you know what? Belinda has restarted. I tasted one of Belinda's juices the other day, and Belinda now has a business. Belinda is doing so much wonderful things because, as you said, you still have life and you plan to
Live it.
she plans to live it. So, for those at home that may be feeling, okay, I've experienced this grief, I don't know where to place it, I don't know what to do, just remember, she said, put God in the center, and it will be okay. Yes, it will be okay. So, I hope this story has been as inspirational for you as it has been for me. And with that, I invite you all to have a tenaciously resolute week. Whether you're grieving, whether you're happy or you're sad, just remember to put God in the center and have a positive week ahead. Bye. And that's a wrap. Welcome to the Tenaciously Resolute Podcast.